Hey everybody, it's Bust with Busted Strategies number 5. We're about to jump into another Midnight Hunt draft, but I did notice that the bot drafts are up, and it has me a little confused as to which of these would actually be the better value to be running. I don't completely know. It seems like there's a lot more packs in the Premier drafts, but the thing I kind of like saw with this is the big point, at least as far as gems are concerned, is like if you get 4 wins in Premier and lose out, you're only down 100 gems, and then you have to get 5 wins to be above even. And then if you go over to the what is it, quick draft, it's a little bit different, right? At the 4 wins, you're down 300. At 5 wins, you're down 50. And then once you get up to 6 wins, that's what it takes to get ahead as far as these are concerned. So I'm not sure, what the deal with that is. I assume that the way people try to do this is you can jump into the quick drafts with gold, and then you can jump into the premier drafts with gems. And I assume that that's the way that people are trying to push these to get ahead. It just seems like the premier draft payouts are quite a bit better. But nonetheless, someone in the comments can let me know. I'm sure some nerd has done the math out there, and we're just trying to trying to play it by the seat of our pants. But it seems like I'm right on this one. But we haven't done any of the bot drafts yet. I'm ready to jump in and see how it goes. And so let's see. It's a little bit easier to view this way, and not that bad. As kind of a interesting little pack here is the way that we typically talk about these cards, or we're looking for some kind of like bomb pick for our first choice, if not something ultimately powerful, a removal spell, or if not a removal spell, some kind of big like higher quality build aroundy kind of card. And as we see these packs, this one's got a lot of really close cards. I think Organ Hoarder is probably still just the best card out of all of these, but we do have the premier removal spell in Foul Play. And then we still have a high quality 2-drop in Sun Gold Sentinel. The Sun Gold Sentinel just busting up tons of graveyard based strategies with like little to no effort. I mean, if you're able to play the Sentinel, remove a card, attack, and get a trade while removing another card, like that's just a fantastic deal. But at the end of the day, it's just a unit, and so it's not that spectacular. But seeing a pack like this, the other kind of thing is I think I'm going to lean to the Organ Hoarder, but there is also a Devoted Graphkeeper. This is the kind of card wherein previously talked about just being like, hopefully we can table some of these gold cards, but this is a gold card that like very rarely tables. The blue-white deck is such a very common draft archetype that you don't get to see it. And so if it was like like the blue green one or the black red the black red one would most certainly table. But here I can't expect the Graph Keeper to come back. But maybe a Graph Digger will come back, and if we're doubling up on blue, we'll end up pretty decently into the Disturb deck. And okay. Well, here's some power in the Seize the Storm. This is just a gigantic build-around payoff as far as blue-red is concerned. And I'm pretty okay with just diving in on this. We aren't missing out on too much. Like, Falcon Abomination is a pretty powerful card. This works fantastically in the Zombies decks. It works, decently in blue-white. Oh God, we got a kitty! Got a kitty coming at me. But the Seize the Storm, if you're ever going to have a blue-red deck work, this is one of the big actual payoff cards. Oh my gosh, it's got claws stuck in me. And the kind of interesting thing of note as well. Worlds has been going on here recently. If you've been following along or catching the VODs or whatnot, if you did manage to catch that first draft with Paolo, there was only one red drafter at the table. Their deck still turned out to be like not that fantastic, but if red is going to be that completely open, then that would be a very strong pick here in the Seize the Storm. I'm not sure how that plays out here. I don't have any experience playing against the bots, but would be nice to pull this off. Oh, okay. Well, if we're just going to get some payoff in the next pack with the Skrillex, I'm more than happy to come in and pick this up. Looks like we can probably just dive right in on blue-red. Pretty powerful start here. Okay. Happy enough with all this stuff. Yeah, red most certainly looks to be open here with both the Lunar Frenzy and the Moonrager Slash. these are like quite close in value. I do really like me a Lunar Frenzy. It's just so good early, and being able to spend just a red mana to give something first strike and win the combat, and then it's good late is just kind of a big X spell. And so I worry about passing this Moonrager Slash. It might just be better, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of hoping we're able to pick up multiple Moonrager Slashes where we're not very likely to see another Lunar Frenzy. Okay, and so finally a pack without that much stuff in it. But with this style of deck, I do kind of like the idea of the what is the Festival Crasher, along with a lot of cheaper spells like Geist Wave and the blue Unsummon and other things like Startle. It doesn't seem like the deck is really coming together like that, but we are looking to be fairly spell-centric here. I don't think we want to be playing Falconwrath Perforators, so I'm going to let this one go and just take the Geist Wave. I mean, maybe this is a mistake, though. It's like we rarely have trouble picking up Geist Waves. I think we can probably get one at the end of the day, but if we're really lacking in 2-drops, then I think we're going to be upset we don't have the Perforator. And so I don't really intend on playing the Perforator here. But I think it's going to be the pick for us. Okay, and then here we have the Gale Drifter. I'm curious how much we could end up in like blue-red flyers if we're able to, get another Skrillex kind of late, pick up a couple of Gale Drifters. It's not that tough to really consider. Otherwise, like, it's like how aggressive are we going to be? Do we really want to be taking Voltaren Stingers? I'm not too interested in it. And then we have things like Consider, which I typically don't like to play, but this is the kind of deck where they're a bit of a requirement if we're going to come out here and try to activate these Seize the Storms. And I think I'm just going to go with the Consider. I don't think we'll have too much trouble filling out the top end of our curve with the likes of Gale Drifter kind of cards. Okay, so here, this is just a very easy component collector. Again, I don't think we're going to be aggressive enough to where we want to be playing Voltaren Stingers, and I'm okay enough to be playing the Horned Turtles. But, I mean, it is nice with this. If we're going to end up in some kind of aggressive number, I don't think we'll ever do it. Let's just take the component collector. It's not going to happen. All right, well, a reasonable filler and the Harrier. I don't really want to be playing Drownyard Amalgams in this kind of deck. Okay, and then our Geist Wave did table. I believe this was this the pack with the Geist Wave? No, this was pack 1. So we might still have a potential to find another one. Right. Mounted Dread Knight's the only playable. There was a Burn the Accursed in that pack. I'm not a huge fan of Burn the Accursed. It's just a little bit too expensive. But perhaps it would have been a better take here. Component Collector's rolling around. Really late Dreadhound. Bramble Armor. Okay, well, not a horrible start. We're getting a pretty decent collection of cards going. And then we do end up picking up a blue-red flashback card here. Reasonable enough to go ahead and pick up. The only question I have is, like, can we wheel this? If we think we can wheel it, then I just want to be taking Falcon Abomination, because that's one of the other few playables here. Neonate's Rush is kind of okay in these decks, just as a burn spell, but we don't have a lot of the kind of spell payoff. We don't have Festival Crashers, we don't have the 2-cost Elementalist that flips if you deal a point of damage, and so it's not super strong in this deck we're trying to piece together. But I think what I want to do here is I'm just going to take the Falcon Abomination and then see if we can't wheel an Arcane Infusion or a Neonate's Rush out of this. Hopefully the red is open enough to where we get one of these back at us at pick 9. Oh, that's a rare. I think this one was pretty good, right? Yeah, each instant and sorcery in your graveyard has flashback. That is extremely powerful in a deck like this, amongst a bunch of cards that aren't that super exciting. I mean, it does have the sweet combo of Ominous Roost, Leer, Disciple of the Drowned here, so maybe something will come out of that. But this is just an ultra powerful card. I'm pretty happy to come in and pick up. Okay, well, do we ever just want to roll the dice with Delver of Secrets? I mean, this. If there's ever a deck where you can play it, it's this one. I'm not really amped about playing things like Delver of Secrets, but we may end up playing with Considers here, where it gets to be slightly better if we consider on our opponent's turn and kind of pick and choose what units we have on top, and then Consider is going to shoot up in value since it's fantastic with Leer, just drawing additional cards. So maybe we can pull this off. Getting super clicked on here. It's clicking on me a little too tough. Okay, look at all these. Man, this is like all the cards that we could ever want. Just, yes, I want the Festival Crasher, the Painter, the Fading Hope, and potentially even the Ominous Roost. And so I think we can probably skip over the Ominous Roost. I don't see us like really using this. I mean, it is nice with Lear, but I think we should have just already won the game at that point. And then beyond Lear, we don't have too many flashback cards at this point, right? We just have the Seize the Storm, and then we are potentially going to wheel that blue-red spell. And so I don't think the Roost is where it's going to be. The thing I'm ultimately worried about here, as we kind of like switch our deck to the easier to see view, is our unit count looks fairly bad here in the early game, and so I'm kind of like leaning towards taking this Festival Crashers. Like, you still count. We're probably not going to play the Dread Knight because you're expensive, but right as we kind of switch our deck list to look like this. I makes me kind of want to come in and take the Festival Crashers just to have the earlier play. Although the Spellrune Painter is quite powerful, especially if we're able to, say, give it trample with something like Lunar Frenzy or with the red combat trick. I think this one's really close. Like, where do we see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if when this pack wheels to us, there'll be 3 cards in it. I mean, they're probably going to be like Hedgewit's Mask, Blood Pact, Devious Cover Up would be the worst 3. I don't think the Festival Crashers ever wheels out of this, but our curve is not looking as good as I would like it to look. I'm going to take the Crasher over the Painter. It's probably never going to table, which is a bit unfortunate, but hopefully that can kind of work out for us. Okay, then a fairly weak pack for us here. I'm looking to just take one of these spells. Like, we're never playing Dread Knight. We already have enough expensive stuff. I don't really want to play Famished Foragers, and so that's going to bring us down to these counter spells and Dissipate and Flip the Switch. And I think we can probably just take the Dissipate here. It's a little bit more challenging to cast, but it has the potential for more upside if we pop a flashback spell with it. Okay, so I don't really want to be playing spells like Silverbolt. I'm kind of considering just taking this Otherworldly Gaze. I haven't been a huge fan of the Gaze, but it is a potential playable here. It's just it works, reasonably nicely with cards like Festival Crashers, just to give us a cheap way to upgrade it. I don't think we're aggressive enough to want to play Abandon the Post, and then Silverbolts isn't a spell. I'm really looking for spells to take advantage of cards like Seize the Storm and then Lyra, and so I'm not really looking to play Silver Bolts in this deck, although it is kind of awkward in that we don't have any burn spells up to this point. So I think we're just kind of stuck taking the Silver Bolts, given that we don't have any removals. It's tough. It's tough not having the removals like this, but. Okay, here, I'm going to try to stick back to these spells. Let's take the Brimstone Vandal. Not huge on Locked in the Cemetery. All of the same reasons as to why we didn't want Silver Bolts. We're really looking for spells, and they unfortunately haven't come around and tabled for us. Startle's a fantastic pickup. Spell draws a card, works great with Lear, works great with our early game aggressive units. Happy enough to take that one. And then Neonate's Rush. Okay, well, some of these are rolling back around. Oh, that was at pick 9. We got the Neonate's Rush. Stolen Vitality is the bigger kind of combat trick that we could pick up here. We need a lot to show up for our deck for these kind of cards to work, but I think this is kind of where we're at, pushing this blue-red strategy. Take the Vitality over the little dude. It is a little awkward just having these component collectors now because we didn't really end up in the Flyers deck. So we'll see. Oh boy, the Ominous Roost tables, huh? I don't think we can take advantage of it. Let's add in another Geist Wave. Stormrider Spirit we won't play. All right, and Sigarda just coming in and opening up the mythics. That's what we're going to end up taking here. I mean, if we're just out here shooting for the wins, then Revenge of the Drowned would be the one for us. But otherwise, I think this is another one of these packs to where we're looking to wheel. Where'd you go? Like Falconwrath Perforator, and then like otherwise, I just don't think we're missing out. I'm going to take the constructed playable mythic. All right. Well, Memory Deluge is quite powerful. Big card advantage / late game play for us. It doesn't play super well in this style of deck that we've assembled, but I think it's powerful enough to come in and take. I guess the big question here is, would we rather just have Organ Hoarder so that we have a unit in place of this thing? It is nice with all the flashback. Let's rearrange this a bit so we can come to see our units again. I want to have this like pile here on the left of just like spells we're probably gonna play, and then pile to the right as cards we're probably not gonna play, but our potentials a potential to make it. Look something like this as far as cards we want. Consider Geist Wave, kind of the bounce spells. It gets us kind of in this early game aggressive-y kind of package, and that's the downside to taking something like a Memory Deluge here. It just doesn't have. This is like plays fantastically in blue-black, but it's going to be like a little bit slow considering what our deck is trying to do. We're at 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 units. Yeah, let's just take the Organ Hoarder here. Hopefully we can table this Stolen Vitality or this Ardent Elementalist. But yeah, the big struggle we have up to this point is we just don't have the removal spells. We only saw the Burn the Accursed, that we took something over. That was kind of a mistake. I noticed it kind of late, but then we passed on the singular Moonrager Slash that we saw. Just kind of awkward. But here we got ourselves another Startle. That's completely fine. Festival Crashers is our bro for Startle. That's a nice addition to our early game stack. Okay, these are moving along quickly. Stolen Vitality will be the play for us. The Galvanic Iteration didn't table out of the last pack. That was kind of strange. I guess the bots are just out here drafting uncommons, but I don't think we can take it here. I think we need to do things with the Delver of Secrets. Would have been nice if we were able to pick up an additional Consider, but hasn't been the case. Alrighty, Neonate's Rush. Welcome to the squad. Would have been, well, we probably need to take this Brimstone Vandal, right? It's a pretty decent aggressive unit. I'm really wishing we'd taken a lot more of these Perforators and Stingers earlier on, but we could have had a pretty reasonable looking deck in that sense. Beautiful. Big payoff in the Festival Crasher, though. The last card that we haven't seen up to this point. Okay, we'll take the Otherworldly Gaze. Not going to play it, though. Fading Hope is good. A nice little tempo-based combat trick for us. All right. Well, we didn't miss out on too much here. The only downside of this was, again, a lot of those cards we were kind of hoping to table didn't table. Which is kind of a struggle when you're drafting red. I'm curious if we would have had a better outcome if we had been drafting in a premier draft as opposed to a bot draft. I wonder if the bot drafts are just going to have like more red drafters in them as it tries to kind of like balance out the colors. But here, nonetheless, I think we're looking okay. It's messed up our deck list here, so we're going to take the Component Collectors out. Is that what we just actually did? Did that actually come out, Component Collector? Nope, just didn't. There it is. Okay, he's out now. So I don't think we want to play Dissipate, so we'll just move it over to the side. It's not really like aggressive enough as to what we're trying to do. Fading Hope, Stingers, Silver Bolt also want to remove. Lunar Frenzy is expensive. Okay, so that's not a bad start. Where do we stand as far as units are concerned now? Let's see if we can't get ourselves back to this style of way to look at the cards. I'm going to move these spells back in as they seem appropriate. All right, we're always playing Lunar Frenzy, so we can just let that hang out down here. So where are we at as far as units are concerned? We don't have too many more to add in anyways. None of these in our hand are particularly aggressive. We could add a Mounted Dread Knight, but he's just a little bit too expensive. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 creatures. That's good. That's probably just about the perfect amount that we want. Now, as far as these other cards go, like Consider is fairly weak. I'm kind of leaning towards wanting more of these tempo cards, but they do work decently with both Festival Crasher and the Delver of Secrets. So in terms of like the Festival Crashers, I'm pretty sure we want to play both Startles. I think this is an easy one. Just Cycles works fantastically with the Crasher. Happy enough for that. I think we're also going to want to play the Fading Hope. That is the cheapest of our bounce spells. I'd rather play Fading Hope than Geist Wave. Amongst these other ones, I think we have to play Neonate's Rush, as this is our really our only interactive damage-based spell. I mean, not really amped about this one. I mean, how many like 1 health units are there that we're just out here trying to take down? There aren't too many, but it does work fantastically with Lear. Let's move this one back though. Like I think we want the Consider. It works too well with the Delvers. It works too well with Lear, and then we need to cut down 3 of these. I think we want to play both Stolen Vitalities. It's a nice little game closer. It would have been sweet if we'd picked up some of those like the Prowess style units, but that's just not where we landed. We could probably live with just 1 Stolen Vitality, given that we have Lunar Frenzy as well. So let's just go ahead and cut one of those. And then now down to these, we probably need to play the Geist Wave just to make sure that we have some, again, some more unit interaction as opposed to playing Neonate's Rush. So I think that's where it gets us. I think that gets us to a reasonable 40. Double check. Don't want to play the Silver Bolts. Stolen Vitality, we're only playing. I think if we had more of these, like, I don't know how many more like Festival Crashers kind of cards I'd want to play more Stolen Vitalities. Again, I think we're okay with 2, or like 2 trample-based cards, the Vitality and the Lunar Frenzy. All right, I think this is good enough. Like the unfortunate thing with this, again, were like the cards, some of the cards we wanted to table didn't table. And then as we ended up in this like more aggressive deck, I'm curious if we should have picked up some of those vampires along the way. It was tough for me to decide if we were going to be, you know, kind of a stall the board Flyers style deck, or if we were going to be more on the aggressive side of things. And we ended up on the aggressive side of things, but I'm not sure where we let things go in there. But I guarantee you, we're just naturally going to hit this Delver of Secrets on the first turn, because that's the way that's the way things work. Oh, we didn't. I'll still take the land. Okay. So, I mean, let's go ahead and consider. We're not going to make a tempo play next turn with a Geist Wave. Oh, decline? Oh, no, it's just going to go on top of our deck. Oh, that doesn't work how I wanted it to at all. Not at all. Because we're just going to draw the card, right? Okay, let's draw it. Oh, man. Alright, well, Brimstone Vandal, it's your time to shine. Oh, man, I was so ready for that to just, like, work. It's not the way it works at all. We need to be playing Brainstorms out here, not playing Consider. I still want Consider in our deck, don't get me wrong, but that play didn't work out at all how I wanted it to. Okay. Kind of a struggle missing our land drops here. But, I mean, opponent seems to be having some mana issues as well. Two, three, four. I was trying to see 5, 6. How many spells we're playing? 7, 8. I'm just going to go ahead and block with our Stinger. They both have first strike. If they trade, it's okay. If he spends all of his mana... Oh, is it only first strike when it's attacking? Oh, fuck me. Got to stop and read these cards sometime. Oops. That was a definite oops. Be surprised to see them like discard some black cards or something. Yeah, the flashback vampire card and an arrogant outlaw. All right, Stinger. Way to not have first strike all the time. Little dum-dum. I'm pretty sure I've made that exact same play before, also on a video. So, oops. But Lear is too good to be passing up in this space, especially when we've got all these bounce spells in our hand. So, if opponent never like completely recovers here, we should be able to get some of this going. Okay. Now I think we end up just having to play some Geist Waves here. This is a little bit unfortunate. I don't think we ever attack with the Delver. Alright, well we're only going to get one bounce spell out of these. A little unfortunate. We probably just have to return the Eviscerator. We can take one from the Stinger and try to trade the Organ Hoarder for the Astronomer. Alright, you're not gonna spend any mana? Fine, dude. This is a little awkward. Need to pick up that blue mana. You gonna flip, Delver? You gotta flip at some point this game. I believe in you. Interesting. Oh, I guess he played the 2 cards against us. It's kind of interesting that he went with the Festival Crasher instead of replaying his dude. But I think this is okay. If we ever draw the island, we have the the Skrillex and the Fading Hope kind of turn. Or if we can just slam Lear. That out of here. This is our way to get the Delver, right? We just needed the Scraz. Ugh. That's a ton of damage. You did it. You did it, Delver of Secrets. Not sure how we're gonna outrace this this Curse of the Leeches. We took a little bit too much damage here. Because we can't like even we have to play like Brimstone Vandal, and then we can't attack. And then we have to win on our next turn somehow. Without the Lunar Frenzy, because we need this dude. Yeah, this is done. Alright. Alright, well that was a bit sloppy. We'll turn it around from this point forward. Play only as the truest of champions do. It's our first game of the day. It's allowed to be a little sloppy. Alright, so what do we got with this one? We drew a lot of our high-powered cards, but then this curve is pretty high as well. I think it's okay. Even if like we miss out on 3 and then just have the Organ Hoarder on 4, I think that's okay. There's some power. You want to trade? Trade it for your Wrangler? Whoa! Wow, I did not expect that. Oh man, he's just gonna counterspell our Organ Hoarder. Ugh. And say if it turns out to be like a loyal Griff or something, we're just gonna regret this pretty hard. But like it seems like so challenging for us to win the game if like given that we've just drawn a bunch of land, that if we slam Organ Hoarder and have it get countered, we really don't have a lot of follow up. That's still where we want to be, though. Okay. We'll take the unit. We do have this Leer in hand that's going to give us a bonus to just play these spells out of our graveyard. Sure. We haven't talked about the removal, but like one of the downsides to Lear here is that you know, she does have 4 health, so she can get hit with the kill of 4 health thing, whatever that's called. Slay the strong is what I'm sure it's called, something along those lines. But otherwise, you know, if our opponent's just playing like Locked in the Cemeteries and bounce spells, then it can be pretty challenging for them to deal with her. Highlighting that Faithful Mending, like he doesn't have anything to do. Oh, loving this, loving all these removal spells coming out before we play our good cards. We just need time. I'm gonna come in and take this trade. How big is the token? It would be sweet if it showed us how big the token was. I don't think we want to run it out just yet. I think we're good to just add Brimstone Vandals here. Still not like entirely convinced that they don't have a flip the switch in hand. Okay. Uh-oh, getting him. Get that damage in, Vandal. Okay, well, they didn't keep any blue up, so they won't be dissipating this, the Seas of the Storm. They can pop it with a flip the switch, which is acceptable. All right, things are looking good. We should have blocked first. I was thinking in my head, like, what weird things happen. Like, I don't want this to just die to random stuff, but we should have blocked. He could have just tapped our unit, and that would have been kind of awkward. We're still looking good here, though. Is this who we add? Do we add Lear? Like, what's in our graveyard that's worthwhile to replay here? Not a whole lot. Just a startle. And it's kind of tempting to just get both units down so we can start trying to take advantage of this Festival Crasher. Alright, then my other worry with this style of play is, you know, this is the kind of the thing that we would run into with, say, like Heimerdinger and Expedition, is to where it's like, when you run out Heimer, it's such a big investment that you can't just get like 0 value out of it. And so we technically could have like played Lear with the Startle mana back, so that if they do have the, I don't know, Gavany Blast for the Sun Gold Strike to kill the unit, then we'd at least be able to cycle a card after the fact. But I think it's not going to matter here. They clearly don't have it. Nice. Good. Glad opponent didn't have a particularly strong draw, but we didn't either. So kind of happy to see our low roll draws be able to carry some weight. Cool. Such power out of that mythic. I don't know if you've played against it before. It's not too common to get to see them, but it can be just a big mountain of card advantage. All right, well, what do we got here? This is not a keep. There's nothing to do in the early game. Better. I think we get rid of an Organ Hoarder. Keep the 2-drop in the interactive card. It's tempting to just like throw down the Delver of Secrets here to give us another opportunity to try and flip it. And we were on the draw, so opponent just missed their land drop. We're gonna do it. Are we gonna Fading Hope their unit so we get the Scry for our Delver? That's something I would say for next turn to get the damage in with the Festival Crasher, but maybe we'll do it on our upkeep. It's tempting. What? So like, what does this ever mean out of opponent where they draw the 3rd mana off-color land, but then still don't have any plays? Out of green-red, this would be the Flash Wolf, which I'm kind of okay with just like slamming our board into. We can Fading Hope it and then still have all of the positive effects we are looking for happen. So it's like, we're going to attack, he's going to play Flash Wolf, we're going to Fading Hope it. Get in for some additional damage. I like it. Let's put the bird on the bottom. It's not what we're trying to do here. I would say we really need a combat trick. This would be an outstanding hand if we have like a startle. So I am pretty happy we got to scry away some of those other cards, but not getting a lot of payoff here. Okay, we'll see if we can't draw into something next turn with the Organ Hoarder. Maybe this was the... Well, I'm curious at what point... Like, if you're playing a Disturb deck with the blue instant that has flashback that lets you look at your top 3 and put something on the top or bottom, I think that would be okay, but... in terms of... I'm trying to think of, like, what cards I would want to actually like these Delver of Secrets, and I would probably need... like 2 of these cards to, like 2 Delvers to make me want to start playing these cards. We could have like a pretty big Storm Skrillex here. Like we can Lunar Frenzy and do some stuff. It all feels fairly sketchy at this point. Kind of want to have like 2 spells and be able to put together a big turn like that. Like, so we can get 2 activations on the Crashers and the Skrillex, win some combats, and then perhaps even just win with the X spell out of our hand, but we'll see. Like, drawing a Startle would be quite nice in those terms. Or a Geist Wave would be good. Right, the big decisions are happening. I wonder if it seems like they kind of like highlighted the Skrillex. I wonder if this is where they have like the fight card. They want to do something with it, but then can't make any other plays. They're wanting to like pass and duel for dominance or something. Alright, well the big decisions are being made here. How close are we to ever like lethal next turn? Right? That's always a valid question and one we like to hear. Naturalist, okay. He's not that impressive on this board. So, I mean, do we need to come in and attack? Like, if he ever gets the flip here, this is just so bad for us. We can win like a bunch of these combats, but it's not sure if that ever comes in and wins us the game. The other downside here is if we don't play a spell this turn, he's going to flip and get his werewolves going. So I think we do actually have to like Lunar Frenzy this turn. So let's attack with our real units. Delver can hang back. Still feels like they have a duel for dominance, which is quite powerful. Could we ever lethal if... we're not going to hit for 10. Well, maybe we do. If, like, he doesn't block a Festival Crasher to get a value block on the Delver of Secrets, we'd hit in the air for 7. That's a lethal. Are we still lethal? Oh, he has the Flash unit. Oh, no. We want to hit for 7. This costs 1 less because we have the Skrillex on board. Do we ever just lethal? How does this look? If 7, we're going to get to 11 on the Skrillex? Yeah, why not? Let me double check that. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So he'll hit for 9. Oh, we're going to be 1 short because we didn't attack with our Delver. I think we still just have to go for it, though. Should have attacked with the Delver. It seemed like it was like too obvious that shenanigans were afoot if we hit with the Delver. Oh no, and he has first strike. Oh, our guy gets first strike as well. Okay, okay. So we wouldn't have been lethal with the Delver attack, but I still kind of like that because it makes them, you know, want to perhaps get a value block, and then we can get in with the Festival Crashers. Instant. F. Come on, Delver, you gotta you gotta flip at some point. What turn are we on? Like turn 10? F. Maybe we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spells. So we got 25%er. Oh, that's bold if he's going to bring everything. Just passing seems even double bold. Alright. So yeah, I do want to make updates to this deck now that we've had a couple chances to play. I do realize that we have 2 Delvers now as well. I want to add in that thing that lets us, that flashback spell that lets us look at our top 3 cards and mill whatever we want. Just try and get these to flip a little bit easier. Oh. This would be great if we had a Moonrager's Lightning Bolt. Whatever that, Moonrager Slash, whatever that thing's called. It's not gonna do it. Alright, so yeah. I think I want to go and make that update real quick. Not sure where we want to take out. I'm not even opposed to just like taking a land out to add that card in. Playing best of 1 with 16 land doesn't seem ridiculous. Right, we got the 2 Delvers, so this is the dum-dum I'm talking about adding in, as the Otherworldly Gaze, which I think I'm okay with. I think I'm alright with this. Like, what if we go to 16, add in 1 Otherworldly Gaze? We still have the Consider as well, so we have like 2 cards to help us adjust our card quality if we need to. Alright. Those are the updates we need to take this to 7. I'm feeling good about it. We're ready now. Looks like a double Delver of Secrets open from the deck tracker. He's gonna say, "All right, here's your payoff. Keep." That's how you do it, right? We go Delver on 1, Delver on 2 with the Otherworldly Gaze. Man. So much potential. This is how you aggro, right? This is the way you do it. I'm ready for you to flip Delver of Secrets. That's not it. Alright, well, we'll trade with this thing. These things may realistically never flip this game, so if we're able to get a trade at this early stage of the game, then I'm happy enough for it. Just wish we had more like flashback spells. Now that we have the Otherworldly Gaze in, there's not a lot of flashback in these colors, but well, there is in blue. It's not in red. It's like it's the Otherworldly Gaze, and it's just like, oh, I'm never gonna play this unless I'm in a disturbed deck. But It's doing stuff here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Alright, well here comes the aggros. Gotta flip. You gotta flip at some point, Delver of Secrets. Whoa, an opponent plays Florian before combat. Never see this. Oh, and then just doesn't attack. Okay. I tried to hype you up, my man. I tried to hype you up. It's like every single person that plays Florian never plays it pre-combat and then never gets that card draw ability. But alrighty. Let's see, like draws like this are making me wonder at what point we should have just been taking these vampires, right? This is what I was talking about when I know we had access to like a stinger, we had access to a perforator. They also help us, make things happen with these. Do we even play it? The thing that does a point of damage? I don't think we did, but Arrogant Outlaws, a ridiculously good draw, all things considered here. Alright. Spell. Oh my gosh. It's impossible. I'm going to attack like this. If he wants to block the Vandal, he has to double block and we can take down the Outlaw. If he blocks the Stinger, then we can first strike something down. And then if he blocks... He has a good block on the Perforator with Florian, but... that's the only good one, and that means our other 2 units will likely come through. Oh, you're really gonna Geist Wave us? Come on. Such a brutal beat if we get hit with a Geist Wave. Right. Well, that's somewhat manageable, I guess. We still have this Delver win if that ever wants to if he ever wants to make a flip. What's the deal with like vampires and not wanting to wear shirts? I don't get it. I mean, I guess if I was as chiseled as Florian, I would probably be, running around shirtless as well. But these vampire bros never like to wear shirts, regardless of regardless of where you're coming from. They just don't like to do it. I did at least like in True Blood when they gave the vampires real names like Bill. Just fucking vampire Bill. He's not running around with a name like Florian or Dracula or whatever. Just Bill. That shit was awesome. Alright, well, what you got for us, dude? Seems as though you have a play. I don't know why you're looking at our graveyard. He knows we have the stolen vitality. We can lethal through the Outlaw. If he has a whatever, Revenge of the Drowned. This makes him have to have 2 spells, right? The Insectile Aberration kills him, or the 5 attack Perforator tramples for 3. Okay. GG. But yeah, draws like that are what make me say, man, should I have just been playing these vampires with like the tempo cards, you know, the Geist Waves and the like to help push those through. I say. We'll see. We'll talk about it once we get back to the old draft review. What do we got here? This hand is not keepable. Really got to find an earlier play. And then even if we do find one, it's not spectacular. Alright, let's send it back. It's got a couple 2-drops in this one. Mulligans just feel so harsh in Magic. Like, I get so used to mulligans in Hearthstone and then mulligans in Runeterra that aren't as bad. But man, it just feels like, especially when you're on the play and you're down a card, it just feels brutal. Uh-oh. Are we cool to trade the Brimstone Vandal into the Harvest-Tide Sentry? I think I'm good with this. Pick up the Vandal. One of those lands could let us play Seize the Storm, but I mean, we don't have any spells in our graveyard. You're going to be playing a 1/1 Seize the Storm. It's not really what I'm into. Okay. We're going to flip it back to Day, deal 2 damage. Get to shut down one of his blocks next turn. And that seems pretty sweet to us. I like things that are pretty sweet. Appreciate that kind of thing. The cheapo Contortionist Troop. With the 2 mana behind, so it just has to be a combat trick? Okay. Like, Hound Tamers is only good block here. This should just be an astoundingly good Lunar Frenzy. Astoundingly good, I tell you. He doesn't even play his trick pre-combat? It seems like a +2/+2, right? He could have a Geist Wave, but this lets us trample 3. We deal 2 with the Brimstone Vandals to take him to for a total of 7. And then at the end of the day, he shouldn't have a board. And if he has a +2/+2, he gets to either protect his Sentry or his Contortionist Troop. I'd assume he probably has to protect this Contortionist Troop, so our Harrier isn't still on board. That was a more painful one. These Brimstone Vandals are still pretty strong here. Interesting. These have Menace. Like, we have to just attack here. So that'll stop one of them. Oh, that's the other way to do it, sure. So, I mean, we've got one. We've got one spell. We can make a 2/2 out of this. You know, I guess that's fine. We don't have anything else going on. The only other option here is to, do we want to like save up a bunch of mana to try and get 2 spells together so that we can flip it back for the Brimstone Vandal? That doesn't seem good. Like, at least by adding this, if we draw a land next turn, it's okay. Still lets us play another Brimstone Vandal, or lets us play another Seize the Storm. So, if we attack... this attack's not good. I do like the idea of Startle. Like, I think I just want to make a zombie. It's going to improve our unit on the board, give us a blocker. Oh, it doesn't untap. Okay. He attacks. That's a bold move, Cotton. Guess he's got 3 mana behind. What am I missing? Why would you do that? I guess we should have startled that in the middle of combat. So we took a couple of extra points of damage, but... Interesting. Alright, well. Dug ourselves out of that hole. Didn't we? What up, kitty? Sorry I was neglecting your pets. I'll never make that mistake again. Never make that mistake again. Take a double Festival Crasher opener. It is, it is. Okay. Not the strongest of hands, but can make a big tempo play. We'll hold off on this Consider. When we have the double Crashers, we're going to want the ability to use that in combat. Block. Okay. So the Dauntless Avenger isn't scary this turn. It has some potential in the future, but I don't think we have to worry about it now. I mean, he needs to play a unit, have it die, and then attack later. It's gonna take a bit of work to get those things going. If he attacks, no, not blocking, and then we have really good attacks on our next turn. You can just start chunking in massive damage here. Okay. The question is, do we need to play Consider so that we can potentially draw a card? Or draw a land? Yeah. Maybe he just drew it anyways, am I right? I think do we want to put this in the graveyard? The Skrillex? I think it's just going to get stuck in our hand. Like, ideally, we're going to like play Brimstone Vandal, and then we're going to draw a land, and then we're just going to make tempo plays the rest of the way. Oh, damage. Sure. Ooh, and he attacks? Greedy. Such greed from opponents today. Not respecting the Festival Crashers. I mean, I get that he has these big value plays where if he blocks with Search Party Captain, he can bring this thing back next turn, but... Such greed. That's it. All right, I'm ready to get some attacks in. Still bringing it. Here comes the Cathar Commando. I guess that one makes sense. Oh, it comes in attacking? Oh boy. So can we win here? I think that's probably a no. Probably a no. So if we attack... This is tough. How big is our Seize the Storm? It's going to be a 3/3, or we could Geist Wave next turn to make it a 4/4. So if we attack with both of the Brimstone Vandals, but this starts with us having to like Geist Wave the Burly Breaker. I don't think we could make attacks this turn. These just don't seem to be good enough. What happens if we say Geist Wave the Burly Breaker, attack with everything? He has to block 2 units. So say he blocks with Party Captain Timberland Guide and then kills us on the crackback. Yeah, it's not good enough. It's like we need to draw an interactive spell next turn, and we can potentially win. Okay, so if you got a trick, you got a trick. The other potential interesting thing we could do here is to oh, that sucks, is to Geist Wave whatever blocks our token to guarantee that we get the damage in. This is an instant, right? We can play this twice. Alright. So we're going to attack. We need to Geist Wave something up front. Right? No. How much health can... You could put like 4 health in front of our thing? Okay. Hopefully that way he's not going to get it. The way he's lining this stuff up, I'm pretty sure we've won. But let's see. Otherwise, I mean, if one unit gets in, we just need to hit one spell in the top 6 with the double Otherworldly Gaze. Right, if he doesn't block the token, that's 2, and then our token thing comes in for like 6. As far as this board goes, we have an unblocked Festival Crasher down here. So you can't let Festival Crasher get through. Okay. So are we right in this assessment? We've got 2 damage coming in. Yeah, so let's gaze. Oh, how do we do these? Put any number of cards into the graveyard, all of them, please. Gaze again. Graveyard, graveyard, graveyard. Onto Geist Wave here. That's what they call lethal, my friends. Whoop whoop. That's what they call lethal. I checked. I went and looked on MTG Wiki. What is lethal? That is what lethal is. Cool. I can't tell you how many times I've just gotten blown out by like Festival Crashers because I was just being too greedy. That was it. I mean, you can put the blocks in front of the Crashers there, but I thought that the Soulgraph Guide was going to go in front of our big boy, and then we're going to have to use our big boy to get the damage in, or have to Geist Wave off the Soulwing Gryph. That mob is unruly. Oh, God, stupid game. Red, blue. Like, I guess we could cast Otherworldly Gaze. That makes sense. We did have 2 options as far as cards that could potentially be tapped there. Oh, brutal. Sunset Revelry. Get that shit out of here. At least you didn't get to draw a card off it, I guess. You can't fuck us up here. Now that we see this board and we've got a first striker, he can't put a token in front of a stinger to have his unruly mob grow, and then block something else with it. Doesn't seem too interested in that. Looks like he just wants to make a 3/3. Need the Geist Wave. Gotta tempo out this unruly mob once it's getting too big. Oh, and he doesn't have a land? Oh, friend. Oh, friend. He can't have a Cathar Commando here, which we can sort of deal with in the sense that if it blocks Festival Crasher, we can just Lunar Frenzy anything. Feels like that turn just did no damage. Opportunist, okay. He's not big into blocking. Alright, well we're pretty close to lethal next turn. I assure you they have to like tap out for something here, so we should be able to get a pretty juicy Lunar Frenzy going. So let's see, we attack with everything. And let's just say he blocks our 2 bigs. He say blocks Festival Crasher, Organ Hoarder. Looking at 3, this is gonna be a lethal. He's gonna get to gain 1 off of the Flesh Taker, but I think we're just punching in too much damage here. There's not any cards we have to be particularly worried about from his 1 mana. Boom. Pretty cool. Alright, well, nice little recovery from starting out like 0-2 or however we did it at the beginning of this. Right. So yeah, if we get that one more win, we'll be at the above break-even point. So strange. Got to go that far, and I guess it is what it is. Make that money, Wizards. But against old Mike Cubed here. What do we got? A Stinger, Crasher, Combat Trick. Yeah, this is a keeper. Not quite ready to just throw spells into this Sun Gold Sentinel. I'd like to get a little bit more value out of our stuff before we try to line things up like that. Interesting. This dude is annoying if we ever if we ever want to get our spells theme online. We talked about him in the draft. His level of annoyingness. Now, the only downside to playing Brimstone Vandal here is, like, next turn we want to be playing 2 cards, right? We want to play Delver of Secrets plus a card. The Brimstone Vandal potentially lets us get, the more damages in. But if we draw, say, a mountain next turn, we can't play 2 cards. Not going to have a 3rd land. He was on the play, so he did miss his 3rd land. His white decks are struggling today. Another Candle Trap. Sure. Let's see, there's the punish, since we played our cards in a poor order. Just a missed opportunity for the Delver and team. All right, so one of these turns we'll skip, and we'll start doing the damages with the Brimstone Vandal. It'll be pretty sweet, I assure you. It's not Covened. Interesting. Alright, so I'm just going to come in with the Flyer this turn. I want to get our Skrillex on the board, and then we're kind of like free to just do stuff on our next turn. We can hopefully start chunking in big damage with these Flyers. Six will drop us to 8. That's fine. don't think the Stinger attack is good. We're gonna be short on lethal this turn. No, no, we put these in the wrong order. Oh, no, 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 no. We're going to kill the Outrider, then the Survivor's going to survive. Oh, this is brutal. This is brutal. We should be killing both of these units. Oh, it didn't work that way. Didn't go to the graveyard just yet. Okay. I take it back. Probably should have just punched in with everything there, right? We still have the block and the Brimstone Vandal. I was just worried about value blocks coming up. I was really surprised to see that double block happen. Like, I thought their way to win the game here was to have a big attack here. I mean, like, how do we ever lose this game if he has some kind of trick here? Okay. And he can still kill us with the likes of some of these cards, but yeah, I mean, I think. Well, I mean, if we would have attacked with the Stinger, it would have just been for one additional point of damage. Maybe we should have attacked with the zombie token to try to just go ahead and get that damage in as well. But we at least win the game with any spell. Well, potentially, he could have Dawn Guard Strike or whatever whatever we're calling that instant spell these days. Okay. Okay. Platinum 1, here we come. Getting ourselves right into the final battle. Let's see what we can do. Final battle. So yeah, now that I've gotten another chance to play this is only the second time I've played the Festival Crashers deck. I think I've been really happy with that flashback card we just won the game with. It's got so many options with it. I thought that was pretty nice. Well, we'll talk about it more. We only got one more game. We'll get to chatting about that stuff here at the end. Hands like this, I do worry about. If this Harrier was like a Festival Crasher, I would be okay with it. I think we're stuck keeping a hand like this. It's just like too good to. It's like the worst hand that we're just kind of like. I guess we can do something with this. I guess. Take action. Don't want to draw an island. Alright, if this was Festival Crashers slamming in as potential 3/3s, it would be fine, but the Harrier's kind of ignorable. This is my worry. We aren't spending all of our mana every turn of the game. Kind of scary. What is this? He doesn't have a unit to sacrifice. Okay. If we had an island, I would have definitely startled this, but without it, I'm not real happy about that. Okay. See, I mean, this hand would be so much potential if the Harrier was a Festival Crasher. Just feels like we've done a ton of work to deal 2 damage. He's doing this. He's gonna let they'll probably let the combat happen, have the decay trigger happen, and then sacrifice his unit after the decay. No, just doing it now. All right. No blocks. None of these are spells. Come on, game. Come on. Organ Hoarder's too good. I'm not gonna mill away an Organ Hoarder. Okay, let's go ahead and get our zombie token in while the getting's good. And we'll follow up with Organ Hoarder here. Okay, take the tempo card. And then I'm gonna go ahead and press the control button. I think didn't this Delver thing go on the stack so we could have the Delver thing go on the stack and then Otherworldly Gaze beforehand? I think. Okay, well, never mind. Aye, bruh, if you're gonna be like that. Hey, he's keeping up that aggro thing. F. Well, he might be okay. I'm a little worried about how this is playing out, but he just plays, say, like a more crit behemoth or something here. Again, if this Harrier was a Festival Crasher, we could be threatening tons of damage. But not exactly where we're at. So we'll take 2. Hopefully the Ecstatic Awakener is kind of ignorable at this point. He's not going to have anything on board to sacrifice to it. So hopefully that's just going to take like too much work to be relevant. I mean, I guess he could like Rotten Reunion something to get the token and then sacrifice it off to the Awakener, but it doesn't sound super high valued. Alright. Bit unfortunate. But, I mean, we can still do some good stuff here. The Stolen Vitality would be good if he attacks us here. I would feel like this is probably enough to... Oh, fucking Morbid Opportunist. Well, we just have to like win now. there's no way around it. You just have to win the game like immediately. just a Perforator. Okay, well I'm gonna block with the Festival Crasher. He can kill off this unit either way, right? At the end of the day, he can sacrifice it to Ecstatic Awakener. He's going to get a token. And so I definitely want to come in and try and prevent that 2 damage. It's like we need to hit Delver now. Like if we hit Delver now, I could see a world where we still win this game. We're having to spend a bunch of mana on the Harrier this turn. I don't feel good about that. Quit highlighting my, this is like quit highlighting my units. Jeez. Doesn't change anything. I think we're still okay in that sense. So what happens? Say we attack with everything. He puts... Where do his blocks go? Like, he puts the Demon in front of the Festival Crashers. That's good. If he puts the Opportunist in front of Perforator, that's bad. Like, the only good attack we have is the Festival Crasher. But... I mean... Say... He attacks next turn with the Awoken Demon. We play Stolen Vitality on Festival Crasher and get a good block. Then he gets a zombie out of it. He gets to draw a card. Or he could just take it. I don't think we can attack here. We gotta at least see if he tries to present lethal on us. Like, if he just attacks with Awoken Demon, then we can take it. If he just attacks with Hobbling Zombie, we can just take it. If he attacks with both, then we have to respond. What we're kind of hoping happens here is he attacks with something, but not enough something to be lethal, and then we're able to attack through all this next turn. Now the question is, can we ever win the game with just like a Stolen Vitality? That's going to give us 3. Say the Delver is flying would be 6. Perforator would get us up to 7. What I'm kind of looking at here is if we block the Hobbling Zombie with Festival Crasher. I don't like it. I think we just have to be like giving the Festival Crasher trample next turn. But if we block the Hobbling Zombie, there's a world where his only blocker next turn is the Opportunist. I think I'm okay with this. Or we can make the same play happen this direction. So now maybe we can also get a kill if we draw... Well, we've already lost our otherworldly gaze, but if we draw like a Fading Hope or something, I don't think we can be giving up on the Festival Crasher damage. But right, say he taps out for a unit. Ooh, Arrogant Outlaw. I don't know if we can do 12. We have to find our X spell to do 12. I think we... Like if we hit a normal spell, like if we had an instant on top, we could get 3 from the Delver. 5 from the Vitality, 6, 7, 8. Like we could have done something perhaps, but that was a very good outlaw. All right, expel or bust. How many cards have we got? 17. So we'll win this like 7% of the time. Jeez, dude, nice draws here at the end of the game. All right, give us our 7%er game. Expel. Boo. Alright, that is what it is. I thought we handled that one reasonably, but after playing against like 2 and 3 opponents that stalled on mana, we were kind of due for a low roll. So yeah, that's what it is. I'm glad we got to take it that far, though. I know we certainly didn't handle the draft to perfection, given that I wasn't really happy with a lot of the direction we took, but let's take a moment. We'll get this one pulled up and talk about it some more. Okay, so yeah, here it is. And so yeah, from the perspective of this deck, we'll talk about it a bit more in the draft, but it's kind of like I couldn't decide if we were going to be more of this, kind of grindy, base deck that's trying to win with Storm Skrillex, Seed the Storm, and Leer, or if we're going to be more on the aggressive side of things. This is one of the things I've like really struggled with this format is making the decision that like, okay, we're in this style of deck, and so now that we're in this deck, I want to take Festival Crasher over top of something else, and so it's kind of tough for me to make that distinction still. Like as we really got like a few games of them with this deck and kind of figured out the way where we wanted it to be. We would have definitely wanting to be much more on the aggressive side of things. And so it's like Lear doesn't even really have a home in a deck like this. Like I'm okay with playing Seize the Storm and Storm Skrillex. Those are fine pieces of top end. The Organ Hoarders are good. But beyond this, it's like I just want everything to be like really super cheap. And so I could still see her being like, well, this is like one card that gives us some like super reach, and we'd probably still be pretty happy to have it. Like, I'm not upset that we had it in our deck, and like, I think that we would never cut it. I think it's just that powerful. Like in that last game, if we'd had Lear there at the end for a turn, and we were able to play, like multiple spells out of our graveyard, then she would have been pretty fantastic in that space. But we just have a lot of aggressive curves to where he's never going to be that relevant. But we had a blue-red draft a few videos ago where we talked a lot about Festival Crashers. I'm quite happy with the Crashers. I think this Crasher deck is good. The card I prefer with the Crashers is Startle. But then you do also need some Stolen Vitalities as well, as this trample out of nowhere is what's going to win you the games. And so we kind of had a deck like this where we were playing the Festival Crashers. They didn't really come together. It was like we had like 4 Startles and like all of the build around. It's just the payoff in the Crashers never showed up. But I think this is a pretty powerful combination of cards in Festival Crashers, Startle, Stolen Vitality. The Lunar Frenzy, also quite good in that sense as well. This won us at least one game we had no business winning. X spells tend to still be pretty good, but again, with this X spell, a lot of times just playing it for 1 mana first strike is good. Like, are we ever going to play a card that just costs a red that gives a unit first strike? Absolutely not. But the utility you get out of this is to where it's still so good on like turn 11 really makes up for those the times where you're also just being like, yeah, first strike. And so those are the big ones to look for here. The thing that I thought was quite interesting is in terms of this draft was this combination of Delver of Secrets, Otherworldly Gaze, and then also using the Otherworldly Gaze with Festival Crasher and Storm Skrillex. Like, I had kind of had in my mind that this Otherworldly Gaze, like, it's not great. It's okay in Disturb when you can, like, play it, mill a dude, mill a land, and then leave, like, a good card on top of your deck, and then you get to do that again later. Like, it's about as good as drawing a card each time in Disturb. But if you're playing like blue-black zombies or blue-green mill or something, like it's just not a card that you're really super interested in. But here, it was absolutely fantastic, whether or not that was giving us double activations on our Festival Crashers, or what I was hoping to do with it is to activate Delver of Secrets. And so, yeah, we'll have to keep that in mind as we draft these again. These Otherworldly Gazes are super easy to come across. You wouldn't be unreasonable to see you get one of these at pick 14. But I don't think, like, I'm not sure, though, the level where we want to be playing them. Like, we have 6 cards to take advantage of it between 3 Festival Crashers, 2 Delvers, and then the Dragon. But I think if you're not at, 5 or 6, you probably don't want to fool with it. And then it's not hard to think that we could get up to, like, 10 cards that really care. Between there was, like, the Prowess Werewolf that we didn't take. And if you just hit, multiples of some of these other cards along the way, I could see that being quite spectacular. So that worked out nicely. Then the only downside we had with this deck was we just didn't find any removal. We would go back and we'll have to take a look at what we passed Burn the Accursed for, but we definitely missed out on the single Moonrager Slash, which I thought was kind of interesting. I'm wondering how this will play out in the bot drafts in the terms of like the point I've been noticing was like with the Palo drafted Worlds, there was like one player at the deck drafting red, and I think that's not unreasonable to think that there would either be like 1 or 2 red drafters in your pod, and if you're the only one, you should be kind of like getting the pick of the litter here. But here in bot drafts, I'm not exactly sure how they operate, how like balanced Wizards tries to make the archetype drafts and the pods. It wouldn't be too hard to just put together a draft bot that works. I know there's some Hearth Arena style Magic apps out there to help you pick drafts. I'm pretty sure Untapped GG has it. I just never turn it on. Like we play for premium, but I don't use the Draftsmith. But it seems like Wizards shouldn't have too much trouble putting that together, given the amount of data they have on every draft. But nonetheless, cool draft. I thought this was cool. Let's talk about the draft for a hot minute. As we started out here, again, I think this is a pretty interesting pick. We even got to see the Sun Gold Sentinels in action. I mean, this is a quite powerful card. I think it just depends on, how much do you like to draft any of these archetypes in general. And I tend to just like blue more than the other colors in this format. I think it's pretty safe to say that blue is probably the best color in the format. And white kind of has some archetypes that are good but take a bit of work, and then some that are just not that great, like Boros being fairly weak. Black-white is good, but it takes a lot of work. White-green is fine, and then white-blue is fine. But all of the blue combinations are good. So I think I'm happy with Organ Hoarder. It just activates tons of decks and is always exceptionally good. And of course, we're passing on Foul Play here as well. But I think the Organ Hoarder pick at 1 is fine, but I would not fault you for taking Foul Play or the Sun Gold Sentinel. On to pick 2. Happy with Seize the Storm. The only thing about taking Seize the Storm here is I do worry about us just kind of tunneling in on this. I still haven't quite managed to tell myself that it's okay to take Seeds of Storm and then just not play it. And so I can't find the small signals in the packs that make me want to stick to a color. And so I still think Seeds of Storm is the way to go. It's much stronger than the only blue card on Falcon Abomination. There is a world where we should be tabling cards like Burn the Accursed and Obsessive Astronomer. Like the Obsessive Astronomer is fantastic in a Seize the Storm deck. It's fantastic. It's just fantastic in general. We can stop it there. This is a fantastic card. But we just didn't wheel the stuff out of this. I think this is probably the pack that might have had Burn the Accursed in it and we missed it. Where are we at? 11? No, is this the Voldaren Stinger? Hang on, 10? It's just the Midnight Mounted Dread Knight. And so this is kind of the pack where it's if we're drafting in Premier against humans and red isn't as common, I think we should realistically expect we're going to hit one of these cheaper and better cards and not just Dread Knight. But that's another positive outlook at looking at the Seize the Storm here. On to pick 3. I'm quite happy with this and just diving in on blue-red. Comments aside in the previous pack, there's not anything that makes me want to say okay, these cards are good enough to where we don't want the Skrillex. Rise of the Ants is fine. It plays okay in blue-green. I could see that being a potential one, going Organ Hoarder, Rise of the Ants. But again, these cards feel way more powerful than picking up Falcon Abominations. We could have Organ Hoarder, double Falcon Abomination at this point, which is going to put you in a pretty reasonable blue-black deck. But I think the power level is just so super high with a card like Skrillex that if things come together, you should have a pretty strong 7-0-able deck. And then again, another one, we should potentially be wheeling these Infiltrators and the Stinger. I think we wheeled the Stinger out of this one, actually. If we go to 11, the Stinger was here. Eccentric Farmer is bonkers being here. If I had known we could have taken Rise of the Ants and wheeled Eccentric Farmer, then I would have taken the Rise of the Ants. But that's another thing that I wouldn't really suspect is going to happen too commonly in a human draft. I would really suspect out of this pack we're going to be seeing Outlaw, Blade Brand, Harvest Tide Infiltrator, Voldaren Stinger coming back as the final 4, and then maybe something like the Party Captain or the Barrage, but the green, I wouldn't count on any of these cards to be that late. But I feel like we're pretty locked in at this point. This was a odd one for us. I think our reasoning here was good, and I think I still kind of stand by this, that we should be taking Lunar Frenzy at pick 4 over Moonrager Slash. We are, just locked into blue-red at this point, and then the Frenzy is quite powerful. It is a reach to, suspect that this is going to table at pick 12 with the Moonrager Slash, but the Lunar Frenzy, the idea that we're probably not going to see another copy of an uncommon the rest of the way, but Moonrager Slash being commons, and we can pick them up at, pick 5, pick 6, I think it's pretty safe to take the Frenzy here. Then otherwise, I think things continued fine. I do like the Perforator over the Geist Wave. We usually don't have trouble picking up Geist Waves, and we do, run short on 2 drops on occasion. So I think that was good. Here, I don't. This is kind of an odd space as to where we could end up in like blue-red flyers, where we want like the Horned Turtles and the Flyers, and then we're going to try to end the game with burn spells. I think at this point we could assume that that's not going to happen. So I don't like taking the Gale Drifter. The Stinger is again something that we can pick up. I do like the Consider here. Okay, Component Collector. At the end of the day, if I knew where we were going to land, I would have taken the Stinger, but we haven't quite decided yet that we were going to be that aggressive of a deck. We're still, looking to pretty reasonably be more of a control decky Seize the Storm kind of deck. So I do like the Component Collector there. The Harrier's fine. I don't think there were too many challenging picks the rest of the way, although this one was a mistake. I saw this happen as I clicked on it. We should have just taken the Burn the Accursed here over the Geist Wave, but that one was just a mistake and me talking and stuff. So nothing too interesting there. And I think the packs were fairly straightforward from this point on. Falcon Abomination I still like. I'm happy that we weren't out here taking these Arcane Infusions. They're just a little bit slow. At the end of the day, if I had known we were going to end up heavily in the Festival Crasher deck, I'd have been more happy with the Infusion. It's very easy to like Infusion into a combat trick and get big stats onto your Crashers, but I think given the state of our deck at this point, this is fine. And also assuming that this Arcane Infusion may table, also fine. This is a pretty weak pack in general, but there shouldn't ever be 2 blue-red drafters at your table. And so I think like taking the Abomination, assuming that the Infusion will table, is safe. And onto this. Lear, very easy take. This pack sucks and she's a bomb. Then we do start to pick up more aggressively centered cards from this point forward. We get our Delver of Secrets. We start picking up into the Festival Crashers. I'm not sure if I would rather have Spellrune Painter as opposed to Festival Crasher. Like, I prefer the 2-dropness of the Festival Crasher, but the Painter is one of the premier 3s. It's just much better than all of the 3s that we had in our deck. So that might have been a bit of a mistake. Just getting +2/+2 on the flip is pretty humongous. But here, Dissipate, it's fine. If we knew where we ended, we wouldn't have wanted it, but we're probably not playing any of these cards anyways. I mean, we could end up wanting like Famished Foragers in this style of deck, but I'm never amped about that. I'd rather just have my Organ Hoarders. Fine with the Silverbolt. We did turn into a deck where Abandon the Post could have been fine, but the way things were going, I think at this stage I should have realized, okay, I'm just kind of in the blue-red aggro deck. Like, once we pick up Festival Crasher, Delver of Secrets at this stage. And then I think we maybe at this point should have taken a Forager and abandoned the Post. I don't like Silverbolts here. I think at this stage we should be able to say, okay, I'm drafting blue-red aggro. I do prefer the Vandal and aggro. That's easy. Startle works with our Festival Crashers. That's good. Neonate's Rush is fine. We should have a couple more dragons, or a couple more vampires, but whatevs. Stolen Vitality over the Harrier. I do like that. Because we're just never playing Dread Knight, so we take the uncommon. I love it. Alrighty, and then the last pack, I think this is fairly straightforward. Take the Sigardo because we want the Mythic. If we're drafting to win, we just take the Revenge of the Drowned. That was a pretty easy one. I do like that we didn't take Memory Deluge. It's just too expensive. The Organ Hoarder pick was nice. And then I think it was pretty straightforward from here. Startle's the only playable. Festival Crasher is on. Stolen Vitality. Delver number 2. Yeah, I like it from this point out. We could have ended up with like a handful of Neonate's Rushes, but again, that's going to be more towards your Elementalist Bear plus Geist Flame Reservoir style deck. We don't have any of the deal of damage combos. So yeah, not bad. Overall, I was pretty happy with how this draft went. And so I think we'll call it there. We're getting kind of rambly here at the end. And I think we'll call it a day. So I hope you all enjoyed the draft. Hope you, maybe you learned how to crash a festival a little bit better. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.